Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Today I wanted to share with you some information on foods that you need to rotate. Long-term food storage is something that we need to ensure that our family and ourselves will always have the things that we need, will always have enough to eat. We don't have to worry then about if there's some kind of an emergency that we don't have the things that we need. We want to rotate the food that we have to make sure that it's still fresh and safe to eat and that it has the most nutritional value that's possible. When we rotate the foods we have on hand, we also reduce waste because we're using things in a reasonable amount of time and we're working our way through our food stockpile. The thing to remember is a prepper pantry is a working pantry. You need to use the food you have on hand, rotate and replace it. The whole point is that you're stockpiling food that you're willing to eat. You don't just set it and forget it, put it away for an apocalypse. You want to have foods that you know how to use and you rotate them so that you have the freshest food possible at all times. Yes, there are many foods that you can put away for 30 years, even more, and they'll last decades. But there are foods that we like to have, mostly because they're convenient, and those are the foods that we need to remember to rotate on a regular basis. The first foods you want to remember to rotate are the ready-to-eat meals, especially ones that come in, say, a package, like the Hormel Completes. These are great. They're already cooked. All you have to do is tear it open, heat it in the microwave, and you have a hot, filling meal that are pretty delicious in no time. Plus, in an emergency, if you can't heat them up, guess what? They're already cooked and they're pretty tasty. You can eat them anyway. Not only the Hormel Completes, but think about some of the types of pouch meals. These aren't going to last forever either. They're not designed for that, but they're extremely handy because they're already made. You can pop these in the microwave, or even if you don't have a microwave, say you're out camping or you lost your power, you can set them into a pot of boiling water and it'll heat them up that way. They're also great because you can pour them over, say, a pot of rice and make these meals go longer. But they're not going to last forever. You need to be rotating these foods because they're not designed to last forever. So I try to rotate those foods within maybe 3 years. Another type of ready-to-eat meal are the little snack packs that have a little can of meat and some crackers. And those are awesome too. You can pop them into your pocket, put them into your hiking bag, even just drop one in your purse or your gym bag. These don't need to be heated up at all. They have a little spoon, they have a can of meat, and they have some crackers. So you can just spread them on the crackers and have an instant meal. But they're not going to last forever. So you want to have a supply of the ready-to-eat meals, but know that you have to rotate them. So only buy ones that you are willing to eat. If you see something and you want to try it, buy one and take it home. Then you'll know if you like it. If you do like it, you can go back and get some more. But if it's not something that you are wanting to eat ever again, choose something else. But don't buy more of those types of foods than you can reasonably eat in a 2 to 3 year period. Then once you have a supply of them, as you use them up, buy some more and replace them so that you have an ongoing amount of food that you think you would like to have for those kind of purposes. The next category of foods that you need to rotate are canned fruits. I have actually had some of the fruits eat away at the can, they leak, and they'll bloat, and then they're no longer safe to eat. And yes, they can last longer than the date on the can, but that's when you begin to be into questionable territory of if the can is still going to hold together. I've not had it that the food wasn't any good anymore as long as the can held together, but the cans don't always, especially I don't think they're made as well as they used to be. And I in particular have had trouble with pineapple. Pineapple has been a disaster in my pantry on numerous occasions. I still have canned pineapple in my pantry, but I make sure that it's front and center and that I use it and rotate it before the expiration date because I'm just not taking any more chances with pineapple. So you always want to inspect your can no matter what it is and make sure that the ends are still concave. Nothing should be bulging. You shouldn't be able to feel any play in it. Nothing should look greasy or weird on the label. And then if you open it, nothing should spurt. Then if it looks okay and it smells okay, it's likely fine. You can go ahead and taste it. But realize that after they pass by the date, the food does still begin to degrade. And so the texture may not be as good as it used to be, plus the nutritional amounts can actually decline. Another food to make sure you rotate are canned tomato products. Tomatoes are just acidic, and they also can have problems eating into the cans and leaching into them. Even if you buy, say, jars of pasta sauce, that the tomato sauce in those jars can still start to degrade over time. Have you ever opened a jar of spaghetti sauce that's been in your pantry past the date and the top of it looks brown? It may still be okay to eat, but that's certainly not the way we want to have our food last. And it becomes suspicious that it may not taste right, and it may not be very good for you anymore. So you want to try to only buy the amount that you can use in a reasonable amount of time. And then, just like other foods, you want to rotate them. You want to use some of those foods in your meals, rotate the ones in the back, push them to the front, and then add new stock in the back. That's how you continue to have fresh, delicious, safe food in your Prepper Pantry. The next foods you want to rotate are your frozen foods, frozen vegetables, frozen meatballs are something that I enjoy, and so I have them in my freezer. But these aren't going to last forever. Don't just throw them into the bottom or the back and then pile newer things on the top that you eat. You have to try to keep your food organized so that nothing gets lost. We don't want to waste our grocery dollars on food that just is languishing in the back or under something else and doesn't get used. On a regular basis, go through your pantry and inventory it, go through your freezer and see what's there, and plan meals with the foods that need to be rotated so that you're making the most of your meals, the foods you have on hand, and then your future grocery dollars. What else should you rotate? Foods nobody likes. If nobody's planning to eat it, why are you keeping it? If it's still within a reasonable date, you can donate it to a food bank. Maybe you want to try to find a way to disguise it and use it up, make a meal. For example, I have these Knorr pasta sides that are cheesy bacon flavored macaroni. Now, a lot of people probably enjoy that. I'm not a big fan of bacon flavored things, but my sweetheart was, and so I stockpiled some of these for him. But now that he's passed on, I don't want to eat these anymore. So it doesn't make sense for me to continue to just store them in my Prepper Pantry when I could give them to someone who would enjoy eating them. So think about donating to a food bank, pass it on to a family member even, or a friend that you think might enjoy it. But don't just let it sit in the back of the pantry until it's completely expired and maybe it's rotting in the bag. You're wasting your pantry space with foods that no one intends to eat. And trust me, in an emergency situation, you don't want to go to your pantry and find foods that you don't like. Wouldn't you rather go and find foods that you enjoy? Because in an emergency, we want comfort food. We're not getting comfort from foods we don't enjoy eating. We want the things we want. We're just spoiled that way. Maybe you're willing to eat anything, but most of us are not. We need to continue to make sure that we're building up our food stockpile so that we have enough food going forward. The future is uncertain, prices are rising, and we're beginning to see shortages of certain items. And if you read the news and the forecast of crops, there are still droughts in places like Spain. There have been floods in California. There are already forest fires in some places, and this is going to affect the food supply and the amount of food that's available overall for all of the world. It's just supply and demand. It's complicated. People are selling their food for the best price they can get, and that's one reason prices are going up. And you would do the same. If you were selling that food, you would sell it to the highest bidder, wouldn't you? And that's what other people are doing, just the same. So stock up while you can on foods that you do enjoy eating, and then make sure that you rotate through these foods on a reasonable amount of time. And then roll with it. Nobody knows what's coming. Just try to make the best of every single day. That's what I try to do. If you enjoyed my video, I hope you'll share it with someone else you think might like it. I hope you'll like my video, and please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.